Greetings, Mavericks and new viewers. Tonight, direct and live from the Maverick News Network World Studios. This is Maverick News with Rick Walker.
Welcome back, everyone. Epstein, the story that just won't go away. I had to say it again because it's not going away. Trump has a problem. But will all this deflection, all these other stories that they are rolling out right now, like this thing from Tulsi Gabbard targeting Obama, is that going to really take the heat off Trump? Well, I'm not so sure, because today we found out that the Epstein grand jury records gonna have to remain sealed. I'll tell you why that might really just be a little bit of political theater. And there's lots of political theater being playing out in Ottawa with the Tamara Lich and Chris Barber sentencing. That began today. We'll talk a little bit about that. What else do we have for you? Tariff talk. Premier's news conference, Huntsville, Ontario, all that, and a whole lot more coming up right here. So don't go away. We've got a stacked show for you tonight.
Maverick News. The world is watching.
We're back, and I should say, all haters to Channel 2, please. All haters to Channel 2, the Rumble Channel 2. All haters to Channel 2, where you can go hang out with Chris, who's there every night. Hello, Chris. Haters to Channel 2. Haters to Channel 2. I pay for it all month, every month. It's there for you. You can go over there and enjoy the free speech that you use to complain about me apparently taking your free speech away. But I'm paying for your free speech in the chat over there, so have at it. Haters to Channel 2. Now, back to more serious business. Donald Trump still in trouble. Epstein files not going away. Today, we learned that the Florida court, where Trump was saying that the Epstein grand jury testimony should be released from, we found out today that no, the records will remain sealed. Here, let me get you the headline. And not only that, there's a new Wall Street Journal report out tonight that's putting more heat on the Trump administration. So, the Florida court today ruled that they could not release these grand jury records, and that they will remain sealed. But first up, let me show you this. This is another report from the Wall Street Journal saying that Attorney General Pam Bondi briefed Trump and told him his name is in the Epstein files. This information reported by the Wall Street Journal, coming from sources within the Trump administration. Right here it says, when U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi briefed U.S. President Donald Trump in May on the U.S. Justice Department's review of the documents related to the Jeffrey Epstein case, she told him that his name appeared in the files. Sources familiar with the discussion told CNN. The conversation, which also included Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, was characterized by two White House officials as a routine briefing that covered the scope of the Justice Department's findings. Trump's name appearing in the files, they said, was not the sole focus of the discussions. Bondi also raised in the meeting that several names of high-profile figures were also mentioned, and that investigators did not find evidence of a so-called client list or evidence refuting that Epstein died by suicide. It wasn't clear what context Trump's name appeared in the files. Like many high-powered people in the 1990s, New York, Trump was an associate of Epstein's who worked to cultivate celebrities to burnish his business. The revelation that his name appears in the documents does little to advance previous knowledge about his ties to the late sex offender, but it does suggest or show that his relationship with Epstein appears to have been deeper than Trump has been letting on in recent years. So the White House has tried to distance itself from this, and Trump is calling a lot of this stuff fake news, of course. It says here the DOJ and FBI reviewed the Epstein files and reached the conclusion set out in the July 6th memo, referring back to the Pam Bondi declaration that no Epstein client list exists anymore. However, some people still are not convinced, and we keep seeing more and more information come out that is embarrassing to Trump. And while the Wall Street Journal is reporting that Trump was told by Pam Bondi that his name is in the files, remember this clip from just days ago when asked about this very thing? This was last week. A reporter asked Trump, did Attorney General Bondi tell you your name appeared in the Epstein files? And how did Trump respond? Like this.
The Attorney General briefed you on the DOJ and FBI review, the findings of that review. The Attorney General briefed you on that.
What? On the
DOJ and FBI
on what?
review.
On what subject?
Epstein.
Okay.
On Epstein, of the review of the files. Attorney General Pam Bondi.
A very quick briefing.
Did she tell you, what did she tell you about the review? And specifically, did she tell you at all that your name appeared in the file?
No, she's given us just a very quick briefing, and in terms of the credibility of the different things that they've seen. And I would say that, these files were made up by Comey, they were made up by Obama, they were made up by the Biden, we went through years of that with the Russia hoax, with all of the different things that we had to go through. We've gone through years of it, but she's handled it very well. And it's going to be up to her. Whatever she thinks is credible, she should release. Yeah.
On Texas.
That's what he said last week. He says He said no. When asked if he was told that his name was in the files, and he said no. She only just gave us a very brief review. No, he said. And yet the Wall Street Journal has people inside the administration saying just the opposite to that. And there's the headline, right? Trump was told by U.S. Attorney General his name is in the Epstein files. And that was back apparently in May. Somebody ain't telling the truth. And the story grows, escalates every day. We see today as well. Let me get you the headline on this first. So this Florida court ruled today that the grand jury, Florida judge has ruled that the Epstein grand jury records will remain sealed. This is a breaking news story tonight. Just making the rounds now, entering the news cycle. And here we go. All major media outlets, including this one, picking up this story tonight. Florida judge rules Epstein grand jury records will remain sealed. As you see right here, federal judge in Florida denied one of 3 Justice Department requests to unseal grand jury records tied to federal investigations into Epstein, according to a public order released today. The request is one of 3 made by Justice Department to judges in New York and Florida seeking to unseal records from federal investigations into Epstein. According to the order by District Judge Robin Rosenberg, the records
this morning is the Jeffrey Epstein saga.
The records the department sought to unseal related to grand juries convened in West Palm Beach in 2005, 2007, and that had investigated Epstein. Rosenberg faulted the Justice Department for failing to outline sufficient arguments to justify the unsealing of the records, which are normally protected under strict secrecy rules. Rosenberg's opinion states her hands are tied, given existing precedent in the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals, which only permits the disclosure of such grand jury materials under very narrow exceptions. In other words, this filing was pretty much doomed before it was ever filed. This is what I'm saying. There are many suggesting tonight that what we really were getting out of the White House was a bunch of political theater, that there was really little, if any, really no chance that these Epstein grand jury records would ever be released because it's against the law to release them, even if Pam Bondi puts the request forth. So what you're really getting is Pam Bondi doing the bidding of Donald Trump, saying, go ahead and make this request to have, we're gonna get the court to release all these records. She puts this request in, and it goes to the court, and the court comes back and says, well, we can't do that. It's against the law, which Pam Bondi should know because she's the Attorney General. So if she's qualified for the job, then she would know. She would have, and the court filing was inadequate to get the result in court that was needed. Either way, it appears to be political theater. It wasn't a genuine attempt. We have the decision right here. Let me read the first portion from the records today. And you can see right in the, as soon as you begin to read it, if you take the time, you can see what I'm talking about. Order denying petition to unseal grand jury transcripts. Right here. This is the judge's decision. You can see the stamp, July 23rd, today. The matter before the court is the United States request to unseal grand jury transcripts stemming from the government's investigation into Mr. Jeffrey Epstein in the Southern District of Florida. For the reasons set forth below, 11th Circuit law does not permit this court to grant the government's request. the court's hands are tied, a point that the government concedes. The government initiated the matter before the court by filing the United States petition to unseal grand jury transcripts on July 18th, 2025, and the government's response to the court's order on supplemental briefing hereinafter on July 20th, 2025, together the petition. Pursuant to Federal Rule of Criminal Procedure 6, the government requests that the transcripts related to grand jury investigations be unsealed subject to appropriate redactions of victim-related and other personal identifying information. Additionally, the government states, blah, 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 blah. Basically, okay, you don't have to get past the first paragraph to see that this was just a bunch of window dressing, probably an attempt to deflect away from all the Epstein stuff by making it look like you wanted to release more Epstein stuff, when in fact you probably didn't want to at all, because it's just a disingenuous attempt. It's a fake attempt to get records released, knowing that it's just going to be denied. You know, if you're the attorney general, you would think that you have some, and she's been an attorney general before at the state level, so she has some experience. I don't know if she's the brightest attorney general ever, but this is smoke and mirrors. This is just this is politics. It's, excuse my language, BS. For the reasons set forth below, 11th Circuit law does not permit this court to grant the government's request. The court's hands are tied. So what was the point of the exercise? Well, it sure wasn't to get the grand jury records released. This, look, I'm not much of a, I really don't like conspiracy theories, as you guys know, but this isn't a conspiracy theory. This is smoke, and I'm looking for the fire now. I really am, because this makes me question things even more. When I see stuff like this, it makes me want to dig even harder. Now, there's a lot more in the decision today, but that's as far as you need to read to begin to realize what's really going on, which is it's all political theater. It's like a reality TV show playing out. And this is Trump faking it. He's fake everything, this guy. If you can't see it, you're blind. Sorry. That's exactly what's happened here. You make it look like you're trying to do something to keep this promise to release these files. These files are not even the files that people really are demanding. This is not, these files would not be the client list necessarily. These files, this is just a small portion of what people really would have been looking for. And you're not even going to get this. But in the minds of people who look at things, only very few people look past a headline. Trump's releasing the records. No, he's not. No, he isn't. No, he hasn't. No, they're not. It's not going to happen. But at least not yet. Not yet. Not yet. I just received a message here related to another story we're working on tonight. Let me take a little break while I review this message. Might have a guest coming on. So a little unexpected, certainly late in the game. I was hoping to get this arranged earlier today, so I don't know if I can make this happen, but it could be very enlightening if we can make this happen. So let me take a little break. I'm going to come back on the other side. Maybe we'll have a little bit of help understanding another story that is in the mix for this evening.
Someone very profoundly once said many years ago that if fascism ever comes to America, it'll come in the name of liberalism.
Well, I think it's time we ask ourselves if we still know the freedoms that were intended for us by the Founding Fathers. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on Earth.
The entire world is watching. every dictator, every crazy dictator in the world is watching. The world is watching. On TV, the entire world is watching. On social media.
But the entire world is watching, and yes, they are seeing what we have apparently bravely been willing to say that others are thinking.
Stand for freedom. Literally stand for freedom. Let's get this done. The entire world is watching.
We're at war with the most dangerous enemy that has ever faced mankind in his long climb from the swamp to the stars.
Maverick News. Maverick News. Maverick News.
Let me have more control of my own destiny.
The world is watching.
All right, so we'll see if this guest shows up tonight. I did send the link, and maybe we'll get a little assistance understanding another major story from today in a way that you're just not going to hear about on any other program. We've got the goods. I'm just waiting for the backup. Yeah, here's the headline on the grand jury records. It's kind of this is really a gross story when you really start to look at it, and it's just not. Wow. Florida judge rules Epstein grand jury records will remain sealed. Yeah, it's being picked up now all over the place. But wait, there's more. CNN really going to town on a lot of this stuff. Here's new old footage showing that Trump has had a long relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. This footage obtained apparently exclusively by CNN, showing Trump with Epstein at a Victoria's Secret fashion event in 1999. There's the arrow pointing to Epstein with Trump. You can see there on the right-hand side. This is just, more documentation showing that Trump has really been maybe not entirely transparent and truthful about the extent to which he had a relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. More and more footage of the two of them coming out. And this clearly is not like AI or fake. And bam, right there, sitting just a few seats away from each other at the Victoria's Secret fashion event in 99. And then you have all the clips on the Howard Stern show, which are pretty embarrassing, especially now within the context of everything new happening with this Epstein story and everything that we are beginning to learn about. And just a lot of questions. And while all this is going on, we see the Trump administration trying to pivot away, put the attention back, like rewind all the way back to 2016 and 2020, but mostly 2016 right now. Put the blame on Obama, shift the focus to Obama. Let's go back to the Russia hoax. Like, was it a hoax? Not entirely. No, not really. Was there collusion? No evidence of actual collusion, but certainly Russian meddling. Here's Steve Bannon, Trump minion, right? Saying that when Trump accused Obama of treason on global television, DC flinched. And then yesterday we saw Obama issue a denial that he was guilty of treason, and the basically calling what Trump is doing silly. And here's Bannon on his podcast, The War Room, again, trying to shift the attention, I think, to help his buddy out.
Out trying to defend himself. He didn't realize he got a big problem. When a president of the United States in the Oval Office, next to a head of state who's here on a very important visit, the Philippines are one of the linchpins to our strategy against the Chinese Communist Party, and on global television, because they're all following those pressers, says that he's guilty of treason. That's a big event. It was big enough, the mainstream media, oh, this is just Trump's crazy talk. They started serious enough that Obama's spokesman immediately came out and tried to give this fluffy misdirection thing, which was nothing but a, wait for it, bald-faced lie. So we're now into this thing. And I think you're going to see what John Solomon said about a federal task force. I think you're going to see either a special prosecutor or one of these U.S. attorneys solely assigned to get to the bottom of all this, including the Epstein situation. Obama.
Except Trump has already said there will be no special prosecutor for the Epstein stuff. But now we're talking about maybe a special prosecutor to rewind all the way back to 2016. I don't know. Talk about a double standard. And then today, Tulsi Gabbard came out at the White House during today's press media session with Caroline Leavitt, gave an extensive presentation outlining all this information about how Obama, I think she actually came right out and accused former President Obama of treason. And journalists asking quite a few questions about that. I'm not going to run the whole presentation, but I will run a bit of the exchange between Gabbard and the media today.
Missed that or covered it up?
I'm telling you to look at the evidence. Look at the evidence, and you will know the truth.
And the computer is messing up again, just like it did yesterday. Hang on. I'm having technical problems again, just like we did yesterday. Let me see if I can bring this up. Not cool. Will it run?
2017 to 2021. Couldn't the prior DNI under President Trump have declassified these documents? And why didn't that DNI do that at that time?
Unbelievable. There we go. We got it back? Maybe. Let's see.
I can't speak to what happened there. There were several DNIs under the first Trump administration. President Trump
apologize. Let me take a break.
From those who were working in the government who sought to undermine his presidency. That's been clearly detailed. What I can speak to is the fact that this was one of the first things that we started to investigate
you guys see
here within this Trump administration, and have released the results upon the conclusion of our investigation.
And then my second question has to do with what intelligence agencies around the world have said about Russia, that they have tried to influence elections in the United States, in France, in Germany, in the UK. Do you disagree with that? Do you believe that Russia is a bad actor as it relates to trying to influence elections?
I'll point back to the intelligence that President Trump has ordered declassified, that we have declassified and released, that the intelligence reflects Russia's motives were to try to sow discord and chaos within the U.S. election, which is a clear distinction from showing a preference for or against a specific candidate, which is what the Obama manufactured intelligence document alleges, that Russia preferred Donald Trump and tried to help Donald Trump get elected. Again, going back to the most important point here, with the intent to undermine the legitimacy of President Trump's election and therefore subvert the will of the American people who chose to send him to the White House.
Reagan. Thanks, Caroline. Director Gabbard, Reagan Reese with the Daily Caller. You laid out that the documents revealed that the Obama administration did not publish a December 2016 presidential daily briefing that demonstrated that Russia did not steal the election. Trump was receiving these briefings at the time because he was president-elect. Are you of the view that that information was kept out of the briefing because then President-elect Donald Trump would have seen it?
I don't have any documents that speak to exactly what the new guidance was that was given as the reason for pulling that document, which, by the way, still has never been published until we released it last week, Friday. One could assume that they didn't want President Trump to see a document that came from the intelligence community that would contradict the Russia hoax narrative that began through the Hillary Clinton campaign with the Steele dossier.
One more, maybe either for you or Caroline. The president said yesterday that Obama committed treason. Do you or the White House believe that the Supreme Court's immunity decision protects Obama from prosecution?
Look, I can speak to the president's feelings on this matter. He spoke to all of you yesterday in the Oval Office, but I also spoke to him about this morning. And he wants to see all those who perpetuated this fraud against our country, who betrayed our country and the Constitution, to be thoroughly investigated and held accountable. And it's been 10 years of this. And I would just add, based on everything the director has said and declassified, all of you in this room should go through it and take a look at this report and review the intelligence, because unfortunately that hasn't happened. And many of the people who perpetuated this hoax, Clapper, Andy McCabe, James Comey, and many others, have been hired by major networks in this room to go on television and continue to spew these lies, knowing that they are lies. And if you all recall, just flashback to 2016 and the years after, the entire Trump 1 presidency was embroiled in this scandal that was perpetuated by the Democrat Party. And you had major Democrat Party officials in this city, namely Adam Schiff, Hillary Clinton, Elizabeth Warren, who went on television and told the American people Donald Trump is an asset of Russia. It was a lie. They always knew it. Hillary Clinton herself said that President Trump would be a puppet for Putin. Senator Tim Kaine at the time called President Trump Vladimir Putin's defense lawyer. Adam Schiff stated, and one of the worst things a lawmaker can do is to tell the American people, I know something you don't know, it's just classified and I can't tell you. And that's what he said. I can tell you that the case is more than that. I can't go into the particulars, but there is more than circumstantial evidence now. And not enough people in this room, not enough journalists in this country pushed Adam Schiff to say, what are you talking about? What evidence do you have? Everybody just ran with the lies, and it led to impeachments. It led to the division of our country. Unfortunately, so many Americans, from listening to outlets in this room, believed in these lies. And it's a complete scam, and it's a scandal, and the president wants to see accountability for that. Phil.
Thank you. Question for Director Gabbard. A spokesperson for former President Obama said in a statement earlier this week, quote, nothing in the documents issued last week undercuts the widely accepted conclusion that Russia worked to influence the 2016 election but did not successfully manipulate any votes. How do you respond to critics like former President Obama and also others on the Hill who say that the administration is conflating apples and oranges here, conflating allegations of actual hacking of voter machines and allegations of interference generally?
I think it's a disservice to the American people that former President Obama's office and others who are criticizing the transparency that is being delivered by releasing these documents. They are doing a disservice to the American people and trying to deflect away from their culpability in what is a historic scandal and negative action towards the American people and our democratic republic. The answer to that statement can very clearly be found throughout all of the documents that we have released. Again, showing that Russia has took action to try to sow discord in the election, but showed no preference for or against any singular candidate.
No? Wow.
You've long been an opponent of weaponization in government.
Yeah, they did.
How do you respond to criticism that referring Obama administration officials and even potentially the former president is just more weaponization and this is a potential race to the bottom?
I think that's a very disrespectful attack on the American people who deserve the truth. They deserve to have faith and trust in the integrity of our democratic republic, which has been undermined by President Obama through his direction of this manufactured fake intelligence document, knowing that it was filled with lies and knowing that it would and could then be used for all of the actions that came after.
Caroline, and I would just add, there needs to be accountability for that weaponization, Phil, that we've seen. And no one has been a victim of the weaponized government more than President Trump, not just because of this political scandal.
He needs
you
to
all
be a
recall
victim.
His house was raided. So I think, it's very disingenuous for people to say, how dare they speak of former President Obama about this based on evidence and based on intelligence, when the former president of the United States, Donald Trump's home was raided, when he was forced to sit in a Manhattan courtroom and many other courtrooms across the country for crimes he never committed, when he was impeached and indicted, and the entire country witnessed that. That's the weaponization of justice. Now the president is back because the American people see the truth. Nearly 80 million Americans reelected him back to this office, and he believes that we need to have justice and accountability. And I think the nearly 80 million Americans who reelected him agree with that. Caitlin.
Thank you, Caroline. Two questions for Director Gabbard, just on this. Director Gabbard, you referenced the past intelligence reports and assessments on this, including that 2017 one that was signed off, as Ed noted, by every Republican on the Senate Intelligence Community, including the acting chair of the time, now Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who said in a statement that they did not find any evidence of Russian collusion, but they did find, however, is very troubling, and they found irrefutable evidence of Russian meddling.
Yes.
One, are you saying that he's wrong in that statement that he made then? And secondly, what would you say to people who believe that you're only releasing these documents now to improve your standing with the president after he said that your intelligence assessments were wrong?
Well, first, I want to correct something that you stated, which was citing the Senate Intelligence Committee's report as being one and the same. I think you said the intelligence community. The Senate Intelligence Committee has a very different function than the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. The evidence and the intelligence that has been declassified and released is irrefutable. I'm going to let Caroline speak to Secretary Rubio.
I'll speak to both questions. First, on Secretary Rubio, he put out a statement in 2020 following that Senate Intelligence Committee report, and he said what they found is troubling. We found irrefutable evidence of Russian meddling, which the Director of National Intelligence just confirmed for all of you, that Russia was trying to sow distrust and chaos. But what's the outrage in this that Secretary Rubio did not say at the time, the Democrats were saying at the time, is the fact that the intelligence community was concocting this narrative that the president colluded with the Russians, that the president's son was holding secret meetings with the Russians, all of these lies that were never true. And he also said at that time, we discovered deeply troubling actions taken by the FBI under Comey, particularly their acceptance and willingness to rely on the Steele dossier without verifying its methodology or sourcing. The Steele dossier that many outlets in this room ran as the gospel truth, and it was cooked up and paid for by the Clinton campaign. As for your second question, Caitlin, I think, who is saying that she would release this to try to boost her standing with the president? Who has said that?
Well, the president has publicly undermined her when it came to Iran. He said she was wrong. He told me that she didn't know what she was talking about. That was on Air Force One on camera.
The only people who are suggesting that the Director of National Intelligence would release evidence to try to boost her standing with the president are the people in this room who constantly try to sow distrust and chaos amongst the president's cabinet, and it is not working. I will just answer your question directly. I am with the President of the United States every day. He has the utmost confidence in Director Gabbard. He always has. He continues to. And that is true of his entire cabinet, who is all working as one team to deliver on the promises this president made. Does anyone else have questions for Director Gabbard? And then we'll turn it over to...
Okay, that's enough. There will be more in the days ahead. We have our guest has arrived in the back room. We don't want to keep him waiting. Stay with me. When we come back on the other side of this, Peace Man will join us.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Let's bring our special guest in this evening. There he is, Dana Lee Melfi, aka Peaceman. Welcome back, sir. It's been quite a while since we've had you on. You can't hear? You can't hear me.
Interesting.
So Dana can't hear me talking to him.
Yeah, sounds
Well,
good.
We'll see if we can get things operating here with Peaceman. We have information. We have some stuff here to share with you tonight. Hopefully Dana can get his audio working. We can hear him, but he can't hear me.
Oh, there we go. I can hear you.
We have audio. Okay. We're in business.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. Dana Lee Melfi, aka Peaceman, welcome back, sir. It has been a long time since we've had you on the program. It's good to see you again.
It's been a minute, eh?
Yes. So, Dana, maybe you just want to introduce yourself again for people who maybe aren't familiar with you. We have new viewers all the time. Of course, you're probably best known to the people here as Peaceman, who stood during the Freedom Convoy, sort of not as part of the Freedom Convoy, but as an independent spirit there, standing for peace and for freedom. For what was it, 25 days, I think, in total, right?
25 days, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, just introduce yourself. Let people know who you are.
So I'm Dana Lee Melfi. I was born in Ottawa. I've traveled our entire country and loved doing so for many years. I've worked for the government as a contractor and as an employee. Still am a current employee, but in the midst of suing them for 8 years now. This brings me to why I went to Ottawa. I'm going to make this very simple as I can, Rick, all the time here. Is the way that I was treated as a government employee and the accountability measures were taking a toll on me and many other people in this country when COVID came out.
Right.
So I used my skills to use our citizen tools, which is ATIP and things like this, to question the legal validity and ask for the documentation for that path at the Department of Justice.
Yeah.
Before the convoy. This was 2021. So by December of 2021, I had already received confirmation that the DOJ has been breaking laws to not provide me with that information. So I felt when I seen all these Canadians coming out of their homes with their faces shown proud, and they wanted to have dialogue with the government. And there were a lot of people, but one thing, I was very intrinsically involved, but not with the groups, not with, but as an individual that was studying these groups. And I copy information and I document it. And it was supposed to be a movement of no leaders. at the beginning, it was always, there are no leaders. And so I went to Ottawa thinking, you know what, I have a couple skills. I have this documentation. I just want to stand in peace, silently, and hold that dialogue with our government. That's not exactly what happened. So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to try to guide this because you have so much information. It gets confusing for people, so much so that I think, people kind of sit back and their eyes glaze over and they go, what are these guys even talking about? Right. And honestly, you and I have been corresponding over the past few days. And I didn't know you were coming on tonight because I didn't get a response until we were actually on the air from you. So I'm not fully prepared for this. I'm going to try to weave through it anyway, the best I can. We may need to bring you back on maybe tomorrow to kind of finish this thing up because I really don't have all the documents ready to share with people tonight. But this is really important, what you have to share. It really truly is, because what we're going to show you together is that there's a lot of smoke and mirrors here. There's a lot of politics, and there's sort of a facade, if you will, that has been placed over the whole freedom movement, what happened in Ottawa with the Freedom Convoy, many things going on at the same time. More than one thing can be true at the same time. Of course, there was this huge organic response where thousands of Canadians came out to protest the government mandates and government overreach at the time. That's all true, but there's also this really heavy political element to it. Acts of people who are disingenuous, being dishonest, there for purposes other than that, and using the pandemic and using the mandates as an excuse or the issue of the day to further their political cause.
The convoy, using
the convoy. That is right. Exploiting it really is the word I think that is perhaps most appropriate. So we're gonna illustrate that for you, and Peace Man has the receipts on this stuff because he has been intimately involved in ways that very few people have been, because they've pulled you into the fold, right? Some of these folks, and tried to make you part of what they were doing.
Can I say something on that?
Of course. Yes. Yeah.
I never inserted myself anywhere. I was asked to go into to make speeches with Freedom Tour, asked with Dave live from the shed, asked to be in these communication rooms that aren't so legal, asked to be everywhere.
Yes. And that's where we maybe can begin tonight, because what we have going on right now, and we have several stories developing even as we speak that are all relevant to what you're going to share with our audience tonight. Yes, it all fits together. You have the Chris Barber, Tamara Litch sentencing hearing that began today, continues tomorrow, with the Crown looking for 7 years for Litch, 8 years for Barber on a couple of charges, mischief for both of them. And then there's an additional charge of counseling to disobey an order, I believe, a court order for Barber as well. Anyway, so they're looking for the extra year. So you've got this big media machine on the freedom side trying to portray them as sort of heroes, while at the same time you have information to show that there's a real political element to all of this that will really probably blow some people's minds.
Yeah, and I want, before we continue, I want people to know that if I fight for rights and freedoms, I also do that for people that I may not like or trust. I don't believe that these charges that Lynch and Barber have right now I believe they should be thrown out. But there's other charges, there's other things in the mix that need to be investigated. And that's what's not happening.
Sure. So the thing is, through all of this, since the convoy, which goes back, how many years has it been now?
4 years.
4 years.
Or 3 years. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to keep track at the time. But it's been a minute, as you said, as we kind of got into this. Where should we begin with this?
Accountability takes time.
Yes, that's true. For both government and sometimes protesters who are not really protesters, but maybe political activists with political agendas. So let's just, the thing that maybe we should focus on here tonight is are these secret meetings that were going on online with these people, because that really is at the heart of all of this. And it really illustrates what we're trying to show people here. And there's all kinds of documentation, but this is really where the rubber hits the road. You've got this sentencing hearing that's going on. You've got this ostrich story as well. And what's the third thing? It's on
Bowder.
The James Bowder thing. Right. All of these things intertwine. They're all connected. All of them. It's the same people, same players, all of them kind of connecting down into the United States. You've got big oil money. You have the separatist movement out in Western Canada. And all of these things kind of come together. And you've got the JCCF, which there is documented evidence of them getting money from the U.S. side. You've got all these elements, and they represent Western interests. So anyway, again, I wasn't really prepared for you to come on tonight, so I'm really not doing the best job with this tonight, Peace Man. But Dana, I'm gonna bring up this first of all, because you have this document that was shared in a meeting, a secret meeting. Well, I don't know if it was so secret. I guess these rooms were kind of secret, right?
Listen, you had to be invited by certain people to be there. And those certain people were JCCF lawyers that facilitated this meeting. This document, this exact document was shared by Eva
Chipiuk,
Bathsheba.
lawyer for the Justice Center for Constitutional Freedoms, which is the political legal organization that came forward and really kind of took control of through Freedom Corp, which is an extension of the JCCF, a legal organization that has been representing select people from the convoy in court since the charges being laid and arrests being made, but not all of the people, not all of the truckers, not all of the protesters, just certain people like Tamara Litch and Chris Barber.
Let's just correct you on something there.
Sure.
Freedom Corp, which is actually listed, I use the term Freedom Corp, but it's actually listed as Freedom 2022 Rights and Freedoms Corporation.
Right.
So I use Freedom Corp as a shorter version, just for the people so they know. And it is not an extension of JCCF. It is a completely separate corporation that was built.
Yes.
And there's several reasons why it was built, but we'll get into that once you ask me.
Okay. So this is a presentation, a PowerPoint presentation, essentially, that was put together by, I think, Eva Chipiuk, one of the lawyers. And
Bathsheba made it. Eva Chipiuk held the Zoom rooms about this, which I have video of.
All right. And so this presentation was made just prior to the Public Order Emergency Commission hearings, which took place to review what happened after the convoy because of Justin Trudeau's decision to invoke the Emergencies Act. And that was a mandatory review that had to take place based on the legislation. And of course, that was an extensive review with all kinds of people. Well, but yeah, okay, you could, when I say extensive, it went on for days and days. We covered it here. I ran every day of it from start to finish.
2 months.
I sat through all of it. Yeah. How was that 2 months long?
2 months. Actually, the dates are on these documents.
Yeah. But here's prior to that, this was a meeting that was held online with many of the key witnesses or stakeholders, if you will, on the freedom side. And as you can see here from this headline, what were they doing here, Peace Man? What were they creating?
Well, I'll tell you, I was invited to a lot of tables to sit down over the last few years, and not once did I hear, let's hold them to the truth and accountability. It was always, how can we beat them with the propaganda? That's what this room was all about. It was all about propping two people up and silencing everybody else in the protest.
Right.
And it was about propping certain people up so that they get the donations, they get the fame, the glory, and then they travel the world saying they speak for you, which I was on the ground 25 days, and not once did we see them or hear from them other than on their media, because they kicked out all mainstream media from any of their stuff.
Yeah.
It's very, very...
Right. So what was going on here was, so this is basically coaching with the lawyers, coaching the people who are going to be testifying on the freedom side prior to the Public Order Emergency Commission hearing under oath, but they're being coached on the talking points, as you can see here, the narrative that they want to make sure that they all kind of adhere to, so that the storyline, the story that they want told is shared through the testimony. Is that about accurate, what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, that's part of it. Yeah, it's definitely, they are prepping people, because I watched it happen, like with somebody that wasn't in their group, but when the EA inquiry started, Maggie Hope Braun entered their group. And that's when you see a change from her stuff as well, because it adopted these narratives.
So what you saw during the inquiry is on the freedom side. And I'm not saying that anything necessarily illegal was done here. There's a line that the lawyers are walking here, where if they cross over it and encourage people to say something that's a lie, that would probably be illegal. I'm not saying they've done that, but what they are doing is they're trying to manage the testimony so that a particular point of view is emphasized here and amplified. Go ahead and just give me your comments on this, because you were in this meeting, right? So is that a game?
Well,
is that kind of what this was?
Well, let me ask you a question. You say that you're not saying anything illegal happened. Me, I'm saying different. I'm saying definitely something. Because I was there and a witness.
And let me stop you
for a moment. To make
the reason I'm saying, I'm not saying anything necessarily was done illegally here, because I don't want to make allegations that I can't back up with proof. Right. Because we don't want to accuse somebody of something we can't prove. Nevertheless, there are maybe some questions about bail conditions and that maybe are a little bit foggy here for a couple of
people. No, if you I made a post on X today that shows some more stuff that you didn't have there, Rick. And it shows the dates on which they are making certain comments and doing certain things inside the room. And the dates go from October till late November.
Mm-hmm.
During that time, both Chris and Tamara were under court-ordered conditions not to communicate or plan anything with any of the certain influencers, okay?
Mm-hmm.
This room was facilitated by JCCF lawyers and invited the people that were not supposed to be in communications with Tamara or Barber. So I'm saying that they think they're above the law by doing things like this. But really, once I was in there, it was just to silence people that didn't jump on their bandwagon. And I'm sorry I didn't. I was there. I entered the room thinking it was great. But the very first message I seen come up was, "This is Fight Club."
Mm-hmm.
Now, you tell me, what does Fight Club mean?
Well, Fight Club, they say, what's the phrase? You don't talk about Fight Club. The first rule of Fight Club is you don't talk about Fight Club.
And what happens if you do in the movie?
I haven't seen the movie, but I think you get yourself into a bit of trouble.
Yeah, well, you're ended, put it that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not afraid of them.
Maybe unalived if you talk about Fight Club. Not to say that anybody's made any death threats here, but they call this Fight Club. And this is just one meeting of what they had many meetings, long ongoing online meetings with Fight Club.
Rick,
Is that
I have over 2 months of this meeting copied in several ways. One is just a video scrolling through the entire thing, which is 40 hours long. Okay. That's quite substantial.
A 40-hour long online meeting.
Well,
right?
It's online communications group. I recorded it as 40 hours. That's how many communications they were doing. Just think about how many.
Are we talking about one
time.
40-hour long session or a series of them amounting to 40 hours?
No, it's a Signal group. It's
and it just stays open.
And it stays open. So that means that lawyers are not always present because they can't be, and people can still communicate, right?
Yeah.
So there's very special nuances to this that I would like to have the information up on the screen, but we have I worked today on this post because there's a lot of stuff out there about the Chris and Tamara Barber show today and recently, and there's a lot of people putting out all these beautiful long threads about what they did and stuff. But if you try to offer a different opinion and show the receipts, you will get attacked. There is no civil discourse. There's no dialogue over division. That's Eva's show, by the way. It's called Dialogue Over Division, but they never have anybody on the show, so think of it that way.
Interesting. So you have these ongoing meetings. Who was in these meetings, these secret meetings? And I think
I can show you a quick list.
Sure.
I can show you a quick list. Go to YouTube.
Yeah.
And actually, I think I can email you a link to that YouTube.
I've got the YouTube. I've got it here. Is this the screen recording that you want to show from Signal?
I've got sure. That. And yeah, so just fast forward to just where it shows the list of people.
Let's see here.
I think it's about 3/4 because I talk a little bit about this first.
I'm not sure where we're at.
Let me
forward.
I'll find it exactly here. Hold on. Give me one quick second here.
I'll tell you what, let's take a little break. I need to take a break anyway. So we'll come back.
Okay.
You find out the timestamp, and we'll come back and get it all set up for people when we come back on the other side.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
We're back. Approximately what time?
2:22.
2:22. Okay. 2:22. Is that where we need to be? Okay. Here we're going to scroll. All right. So these are the people who are in this meeting. And this is a fairly, well, this is just the group, right? These are the people who are all associated with it. And I think some people are going to recognize a lot of these names. As you can see. So Eva Chipiuk, the lawyer. Bethan Nodwell, I'm not sure who that is. Oh, and there's...
She's the Freedom Fighters Canada that went over to the UK to talk to Christine Anderson. That's who Bethan Nodwell is.
Okay. Andrew Lawton, who is now a Conservative member of Parliament and was involved with... was True North, the media outlet at the time, right? Andy Lee, another conservative influencer. Anita, I don't know Anita who. Do you know who that would have been?
She's a big time writer.
Okay. We have
Benita Peterson.
Mm-hmm. Cam James, don't know who that is. Candace Loist, proud member of the Fringe. Don't know who that is. CB, Chris B. Don't know who that is.
Chris Barber.
Ah, Chris Barber. I see. Yeah, I do see his little thumbnail in there. Clyde Do Something. Chris Vleck. Don't know him. Chris Dacey. I do know Chris.
Chris Vleck is one of the directors on Freedom Corp, by the way, I think.
Okay. Danny B, that would be Danny Balford.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's from what's that? Police on Guard? That's the organization, right?
Yeah.
David Whitehead, who's that? Don't know.
He is a writer. So is Derek Smith.
Yeah, Derek Smith. We know Derek. He's been on the program. He's been very friendly here. He's the guy who came out with the book, How the Prime Minister Stole Freedom, or I think it was, right? Yeah. So Derek's been on the program a few times. Always found to be friendly, but there he is, conservative influencer in these meetings as part of this network, right?
By the way, most of the people in this group had, at the time, over 200,000 viewers on a constant basis. That's what one of the, unless you are a political writer or influencer, and there's also military intelligence in this room.
Or former military intelligence. Diego, I don't know who Diego is. Drew, I think I know who that is from V4F, right? Probably. Efren Oswaldo Flores Monsanto Have no idea. Somebody, G, Greg W, Heather. Oh, there's Jody Ledgerwood. Who else do we have here?
Wait, go back up. Joshua Bigger. Now he's got a huge following that he uses to attack me big time. Keith Wilson, the other lawyer.
The lawyer, yeah. Kristen, somebody.
Matthew Horwood, a writer for mainstream media. Which, remember that these people didn't want to have anything to do with mainstream media, right?
Interesting. And yet there they are. A lot of people that you think are on one side or the other are actually not so much of an enemy of that side as you think, right?
And here we have Melissa McGee, which I had never met ever, and wrote horrible things about me. And if you watch the videos that Barber and Lynch put out about reading mean tweets, they're using her phone, and she's a pastor sitting in the back seat of the car. Patriot Smoothie, which is now Right Blend, because remember, they change their names often, some of these people, on purpose.
Yeah. And there's Rachel Rohan, yeah. That's War Campaign, right? The
Rohan, yes. And you notice what happened to him, the same thing that happened to you, is his systems were attacked and many other things too. And he's the only other one, other than me, that will speak out against this group.
Rob Primo.
Publicly.
Yeah. Rupa Subramanya. I don't know Rupa.
Hundreds of thousands of followers this lady has. She wrote the foreword on Tamara's book. Okay.
Yeah.
But she is now propping up Carney.
Interesting. Ryan Garrettson. Don't
Now,
know him.
I honestly love Ryan Garrettson. He still to this day will respond and love some of my posts because I think he's seen what was happening in this group. Like I said, that not everybody here is guilty,
Right.
by the way.
Yeah. Guilt. Yeah, that's right. I mean, just being in here doesn't mean you're guilty of anything, but it does show
you are an accessory.
If you're even aware that there's a crime being committed or anything improper being, I mean, that's a little bit, but
well, they
anyway.
discuss that in the group.
Do they? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And when you say to discuss that, what is that you're talking about? They're discussing what?
Actually, your current MP, Andrew Lawton, has publicly admitted to being in this group, by the way, on his own social media. And inside the group, I just posted today a screenshot of him saying, I see we're in the presence of counsel, trying to make it as if we're not doing anything illegal because we're in the presence of counsel. But that's not necessarily true.
Because the court order for a couple of the people with bail conditions was such that they could be in the presence of each other under certain circumstances, and counsel needed to be present if that were the case. And so I think that's why they're saying in the room, I see we're in the presence of counsel.
But you see Tamara and that directly communicating with other people in the room, which they're not supposed to be. Sean Newman has his own podcast that he's tried to get people to watch. And you see, what happens in this situation, my friend, is they put a lot of people into play, and they seen who sticks. Okay. And Tamara, because she was put in place of money, she stuck. She actually failed at everything that people put into her control, but people never mention that. Okay. And then we see Tamara next. Stu. one of the original convoy organizers, Thomas O'Connor, big advertiser, Tom Marazzo, first to capitalize or second to capitalize off of the freedom movement with a book that does not tell the truth.
And Tom Marazzo, who's been on the program multiple times here. John O'Sullivan, Laura Lynn Tyler Thompson, Christian
now
influencer.
I'll say something about Laura Lynn. I have known her since I was a teenager, okay? And known about her when she was in broadcasting and different things, okay? I was watching her show because I liked some of her views. I don't necessarily have to agree with everything you say or they say, but if I like some of your views, I watch your show. She knew that this was not right, and she literally preaches every day, and knowing that she is doing wrong.
So when you say that this isn't right, what do you mean by that? What's wrong with these people meeting in this, what you call it, well, they called it a clandestine group? What were they doing wrong, Peaceman?
What they were doing wrong is that they had a narrative that they wanted to set to make two people their hero. They wanted to lift up two people. That's what this room was for. It was done by JCF lawyers just to prop these people up in the EA and stuff. And they want you to think that the EA had citizen...
The Emergencies Act.
The Emergencies Act inquiry had citizen representation. But no, all we had was Freedom Corporation representation. We had nobody standing up for the citizens, or if I wasn't agreeing with what they did, there was nobody standing up because you had to somehow get picked to be in there, right? Yeah. Now, I got picked to be at the EA. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I can show you the emails from the commission.
Well, I believe
where
you.
They,
yeah,
they say, yeah, we'd love your information. My next email was, well, I have, remember I wore a camera on my head?
Yes.
When I was standing there? Well, nobody has seen any of that footage. I could have tried to capitalize on that footage or do whatever these other people did, but it is evidence. So I said to the EA, well, I'll give you my evidence, which is 40 hours of video. And which, not in conjunction with the other 40-hour video, just totally different. And it shows the bad actors on the street, that we never seen Freedom Corporation anywhere down on the street, police interactions that show illegal actions, things like this. Well, the very next email I got from the commissioner was, we're out of room. Sorry. And we only have limited time. Thank you very much. If you want to upload your evidence separately without your involvement, and they wanted me to send an NDA, non-disclosure agreement, as well, which I wouldn't do. I want to be able to speak. I want to be able to speak wherever I want to be able to speak.
I do. I do remember people talking about being required to sign the NDA prior to testifying. I understand the procedure and I understand the concerns, which were overblown, frankly, in my view, by some people who were making legal assessments without really being qualified to do so. The reason the NDA was required was so that people wouldn't be sharing evidence in public prior to the commission hearing, but then it would be presented during the hearing, and then afterward you release all the information later.
It's funny you mentioned that, because you asked me what else are they doing in this room. Yes. Well, Eva, as she's receiving files, as one of the defense lawyers, she's sharing it in the room before it is publicly available on the commission's website. Okay, that's against their NDA as lawyers, which is against ethics.
Yeah. So what you've really got going on here, this is, a number of points to really pick up on here as a result of this information coming to light. But I think that the main thing to consider here is that what we think we're seeing through the inquiry after the Freedom Convoy, what we're seeing play out in public is not just like organic, spontaneous, or truthful testimony from people. This is a managed narrative. It's a story that we're being told, a story that has been crafted in order to manage people's perceptions perception of the convoy, of the freedom movement, of the response of government, to craft the narrative, to tell people a story, not just let people come in and just answer questions and just be truthful, honest, and transparent.
Also, Rick, I never wanted to become somebody. I don't need money, things like this. And this is not what I wanted to be doing, was focusing on that. I wanted to focus on my accountability measures that I am holding to the Department of Justice, to OPS, Ottawa Police Service, the LECA, Law Enforcement Complaints Agency, and things like that. But because this group is so large and far-reaching, they use all of those people against me to make sure nobody is watching.
Yeah.
Or questioning. So it is very deeply rooted.
And here's the other thing that I've come to realize. You have this group and sort of the people at the center of this element of the freedom movement criticizing all the time the mainstream media, saying, don't listen to them. You can't trust those guys. They're just bought and paid for by the government. And yet what are we seeing here? We're seeing just sort of, sorry, are you okay there?
Yeah, I broke the leg on my chair. No worries.
Okay?
No, it's just the wheel, I think.
Okay.
It was weird. Sorry.
But what we're seeing here is a group of influencers who people see online and think that these people are journalists and giving them news, the other side of the story, when in reality, what you've got is a team of media influencers that have been put together, organized in order to manage, amplify, and distribute the narrative.
And many things throughout this time, remember, time reveals. So many things throughout this time, and I'm going to use one example, Tupac Church, downtown Ottawa, the clown show.
That. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, they wanted to link Convoy to the clown show. They had no way to do that. So who shows up? Rosie Convoy, which was created only in later 2022, but she gets a 2-page front page spread on the newspaper, and not one other protester in Canada got that type of thing. And they use that to target people, that story, if you read that story. So they linked Convoy to the Tupac through her name, Rosie Convoy, and Rosie's Road Trip. It was really weird. But these are the distractions that are going on all the time, because they don't want you to focus on the beginning, how it started, now I shared with you a page from the EA inquiry. And if you go to the EA inquiry website and scroll all the way down. You can do
this is why I wish
video
I wish I'd known you were coming on, because I could have had these materials prepared. And so
Yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
going to,
yeah,
you know what
we
I'm going
can
to
do that.
Yeah, and you know what I'm going to propose to you is let's leave it here at this point for tonight. Tomorrow, I will get all the material. I'll talk to you through the day tomorrow. We'll get all the material that we need to have to illustrate the points that you're really trying to make here. I'll have it all here so we can share all of that with everybody, and we will be able to explain to people more clearly what it is that you'd really like them to focus on and understand, because there are a few different elements to this story, things that I think it's important for the public to be aware of, certainly our audience, especially when people are being asked to donate money all the time, when they're being asked to support certain people, when you've got politicians involved in some of these groups. You see political motives behind a lot of this, and at a time when our national sovereignty is being threatened, the future of our country is on the line, and you see all these other stories that sort of intertwine. You see links to this, tentacles going across the border, US influence, big oil money, Western separatism, all of it coming together in a way that really is hurting our country in many respects, and hurting people, individuals.
Wexit, the Maverick Party, TBOF.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all linked.
Yeah. And this also shows that it's not as simple as I'm with the Conservative Party, or I'm with the Liberal Party, or I'm a liberal or a conservative, or a this or a that. No, this stuff is not black and white. You have different people from different parts and different political groups intertwining, and it's pretty messy. It's a little bit difficult to understand. That's why we need to get these documents highlighted in just the right way so that you can understand why this is important, and why what you think you're seeing with regard to the politics playing out right now, it's not entirely what you think that it is. Fair enough? Yeah.
Fair enough.
Can I get you to come back tomorrow night, Dana?
Absolutely. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to share tonight's excerpt here, and I'm going to ask more viewers to come tomorrow. And
Excellent.
In the chat, put in your real questions, not hate, not speculation. Yeah. Put in real questions. Now, I can't see your chat, but you will be able to see it tomorrow. Yeah. And this is the main point. Ask questions. Otherwise, like, I'm sorry, but I don't just blindly follow the news, the government, the influencers, or anybody else. I go out and look for my information. I do official requests through government documentation. I do requests for even Freedom Corporation from Corporations Canada. I requested their information and received it. That's available to you now because I make it available on my website.
And I have to say, I mean, it's taken me quite a while to go through the material you've been sending me in a way that I can make sense of it. That's what I'm here for. I'm going to help to try to guide this and focus the conversation so people can understand it, so that people can really clue in and understand the information that you have been trying for a while to share with people in a way that they can comprehend. That's what we're going to do. And this is, you're the key, my friend.
And I've tried to do it
really
through civil discourse.
Yes.
And thank you. But I have tried to do it through civil discourse, regardless of what you hear from your influencers, like don't listen to him and all of this other stuff. Yeah. Just look at it first before you make up your mind. That's all I ever ask.
Yeah. And
not one person has challenged me.
Yeah. And again, just for legal purposes, any allegations that may have emerged from this conversation tonight have not been proven in court. We I'm not even saying that people have necessarily done anything illegal, but there are questions here, real legitimate questions. And one of the biggest questions I have is, as I'm looking at some of the stuff that you've uncovered here, Dana, I'm wondering why our government and why police haven't taken action on some of these issues prior to this.
And they do not have any excuse, because during the Lynch and Barber trial, before their conditions got removed last March, I showed up to their trial. Yeah. I had all of the information on a 64 gigabyte SD card. Right in front of them, I handed it to the Crown Attorney. The Crown Attorney had it taken away by the Ottawa Police. The Ottawa Police then called me and had a meeting with me the very next day with OPP. Mm-hmm. Okay? They have the information. Why was none of it in the trial?
All valid questions. All I can say is we're going to dig into this.
And if you want to call me some type of fed or rat or whatever we hear from LaFosse, if you want to try to do that, just think, if you were in my position and you're invited into an illegal atmosphere, the only way you're not an accomplice is if you give the information to the authorities. I trust in my legal rights, even though it's been used against me. I still trust in it because I beat them, by the way, right?
Yeah.
Which you can show that too. That's a huge document, but well, 17 pages.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, it's not necessarily that the system is corrupt. It's that you need to know how to use the system.
Exactly.
Yes, sir. That's right.
And you cannot be afraid. You cannot be afraid. You cannot back down from bullies and online harassers and parts of this group that are meant to silence any Canadians, any dissenting voices of their narrative. That's what CBC does for the Liberals. It's the same thing. It's the same playbook. And I know very well, because I've worked in the government. I'm security cleared 28 years. You know, my signature is on buildings like the Parliament buildings, DOJ, D&D, War Museum, Diefenbunker, every laboratory in Ottawa, the bomb testing facilities. My signatures, how do you think my signature got in all those buildings? Because I was a trusted source. I was a trusted worker, and I have not ceased to be that worker.
All right. We're going to leave it there for tonight, everybody. Some of these other news stories I'd had teed up for you got pushed aside because we brought Peaceman on, but I'm going to let you chew on that and digest it overnight. And then everybody come back tomorrow and Peaceman will start dropping more truth bombs at 7 p.m. Eastern on the flip side. Love you guys. Thanks for hanging out as we try to get everybody a little closer to the truth. See everybody back here tomorrow. Oh, I need to find what song you want to hear tonight.
Hey, can you play a song that was just recently made for me?
Well, actually, I can't. I've got certain songs queued up that we play every night at the end here. It's interesting. It's on my YouTube. All right. Anyway, I'll see you guys back here 7 p.m. Eastern on the flip side. And I'm going to go walk Cosmo, my best friend. See ya.
Well, I heard old Cosmo howling last night up on the hill where the moon shines so bright. He was singing a tune, lonesome dogs cry by freedom, running and touching the sky. If I leave here tomorrow, won't you still remember me? Cosmo's free. you're feeling lost, just think of Cosmos Run. Remember his spirit, his freedom, his fun. And maybe one day, when you're feeling alone, you'll find your own freedom and let your spirit go. If I leave here tomorrow, would you still remember me? Cosmos free, running wild, wild as the wind can be. He's a free dog, he's a free dog, he's a free dog. He's got the stars in his eyes, the wind in his fur, a tail that wags like it's never heard a bird, a heart full of love and a spirit so free. He's living his life wild and carefree. He's got the stars in his eyes, the wind in his fur, a tail that wags like it's never heard a bird. Cosmos on a journey, he's got no chains. He's running through the fields, breaking all the lanes.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.